Hello and welcome to Rare Cuts Media Society, a podcast that looks at hidden media gems where they replace Stallone with a dummy and no one notices. With your hosts, as always, I'm Andrew Jagoda. With me, we've got Eric Hathorn. How are you today, Eric?
Sports. Andrew gets to sit in the front seat today because he's a good guy at sports. I'm gonna go with that.
I don't know about
if you
that
get the
one.
reference. If you get the reference.
That's a good reference. That's a good one.
And
I was planning that.
Rob Lachik, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I will say I was really looking forward to seeing Stallone possibly eat some more pizza in this film, but I was left. I was left without it, so I was a little disappointed. But we'll get there. We'll have to talk about it.
If only he'd escaped to Italy. Oh wait. Never mind. And Mike Ross, how are you today, Mike?
I'm doing fine. I can't think of anything sassy to say. I mean, your intro was perfect. So.
All right. Well, for those of you that tuned in last time, we are starting a new arc for the summer, and Rob and I had a co-win, so we felt that we should, get together, put our heads together, figure out something, and we decided it'd be a good time to turn up the heat with the sports category. We haven't really dealt with sports on this podcast, so here we are, sports, and as we saw last time, I ended up with soccer, or as the other countries call it, football. So this month on Rare Cuts, we are taking a look at the 1981 sports and war film Escape to Victory, though in the U.S. it was just originally labeled Victory. So if you see that and you see Sylvester Stallone, you're in the right place. Starring Stallone, Michael Caine.
I just got to say that the thing with the name, like I almost feel like that could have been a Stallone call. He's like, hey, that name is too long. Escape to Victory. My previous movie, Rocky and Rambo, let's just call it Victory.
Are you saying when he went to a press junket, he wouldn't remember the full name, so he had to just shorten it to one word? Is that what you're saying here?
I'm in this movie, Victory.
That is possible. And Michael Caine, I'm sure, didn't care. Max von Sydow probably cared. And then there was, of course, Brazilian soccer star Pele, who was in the film. The movie takes place during World War II in a German prison camp. The prisoners are playing soccer when a Red Cross inspection comes after an unsuccessful escape attempt. Max von Sydow's Major Steiner realizes that one of the prisoners is a former professional footballer, John Colby, played by Michael Caine. And Steiner comes up with the idea to have a match between the prisoners and the Germans. And he's hoping for just the officers, a friendly match. But that idea quickly gets taken over by his superiors and turned into a huge propaganda stunt. Now, at this point in the film, I don't know about you, but it started off sounding like we were going to get to see Steiner versus Colby, Max von Sydow versus Michael Caine. Two old guys even at that point. I was really hoping to see that because to me that would just be awesomely hilarious, trying to make cuts where it's like, oh yeah, that's Max von Sydow, but really it's somebody else running around. So I was wondering, first off, did any of you guys catch on to that, want to see that too, or was that just me being weird?
Not me.
No.
I'll give you this. I did think at one point when they're like, well, put you up against, I was thinking that like Sydow would be the coach of the other team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that would happen. Like it would be like, you get your guys, I'll get my guys, and we'll put them together. And it would be like across because then you would get more of like the, I'm going to bring up another sports movie. Well, but that's what we should do with these, right? Like Little Giants, where you have the brothers who are feuding and they're the coaches, right? Like you get like that kind of dynamic, and not necessarily You know, I didn't necessarily see them playing, but that would be funny. I think
I was honestly, I was shocked when they actually started playing the game. Like, wait a minute, Michael Caine's playing?
True.
Not really, but
he was out there.
They had a pro football double for him for a lot of those jobs.
So how old was Michael Caine during the filming of this? All right, I'm gonna look it up here.
I'm gonna make this do math.
It was filmed at what, 81?
Well, it would have been filmed probably in 80 to 1. 80.
So he would have been.
Play some round numbers here.
But I mean,
he would have been 40, late 40s. So he wouldn't have been super old.
Too bad. That's the effect of people just look older. I guess it depends
who he's playing with. Yeah, I mean, if he was playing like a bunch of like early 20-year-olds, like in a very obviously physically demanding sport, probably wouldn't do so well in his late 40s. But so I was actually. I'll be totally honest. I had no idea where this film was going to start. Like I thought it was going to be some sort of like small, like little, like game. Again, I had no concept of where this was going. Didn't watch any previews, didn't watch anything like that. And then like when Stallone started coming in, I'm like, wait, so how does he even fit in this? I was very confused by the film at the very beginning. And I think you're going to go more into this. I don't want to take any of your thunder here, but I was definitely very confused at this point in the film because like I just didn't know where they were going with like playing the game. To your point, was Michael Caine going to be like real life or bad dubbing in of some other player?
Well, and to just piggyback off the confusing part, I mean, we start out and it's a very serious beginning where, you know, it's a lot of tension and build up of a prisoner trying to escape the POW camp. And, you know, they're making progress. They get through a barbed wire fence when, you know, they're spotted. Ultimately, they're shot to death, even though they were surrendering. And I was like, ooh, this is dark. And then immediately they go to and this is what drove me crazy with Wild Geese. The British love their like parade marching band music. And it just like starts the opening credits and it's like, oh, yay. Are we still in the same movie? And that's the darkest tone. That's the darkest tone of the whole movie was that first opening scene.
Yeah.
So it's confusing.
I did think of Wild Geese when we were watching this, and I was a little bit like, Andrew's he picks a type. No.
You know what? Maybe there is something with this. Maybe there's something with military like movies like this. Because if you think about it, that is how the movie A Few Good Men begins. Right? Because there is the scene of doing the Code Red on one of the Marines, and then it goes to the big like marching scene or like the revelry scene at the very beginning. So maybe there's something with military movies and starting out with this like dark scenes and then go to like some sort of military parade. I don't know.
While those Nazi officers plan the propaganda stunt, the Allied officers try to arrange escape attempts. And it's brought in really early. Sylvester Stallone's character, Robert Hatch, comes up with an elaborate plan that involves a fake passport made right in camp. Now, this is where I kind of went back to my days when we did autofocus talking about Hogan's Heroes, because to me, it got a little bit ridiculous, I thought, for this, you know, starts out with that serious opening you're talking about, somebody getting killed, which did not happen in Hogan's Heroes, at least not that we know of. Not well, because the big
death, a dark episode.
Was the autofocus death. That's what
I mean.
Yeah. But with this equipment, he's able to make a passport that's up to par. They've got radios hidden in fake Bibles. Did you guys feel like it was too much Hogan's Heroes style, or did it seem kind of believable still?
I'm kind of with you with the Hogan's Heroes piece at this point. I did kind of like not really buy into like that whole setup. And and I don't want to go to it because I believe you're going to talk about it, like some of the scenes of his escape and like communicating back. Like, I was a little confused. Like, if they had all this like technology, this radios, like you're telling me they were not able to get a message back from them, right? There was all sorts of like inconsistencies through like what do they have, what capabilities they do. I wasn't expecting Colonel Clink to jump out or anything like that, or something like that.
Well, the guy with the
it's true.
Oh, brah, what are you doing here?
That's true. Yeah.
But like, that was probably for me the least like interesting part of the film, because it just felt kind of all over the place. The first good 20 minutes of it, I definitely really had no idea where this was going. Only until we got to some of the escape scenes with Stallone, I kind of felt like the movie started to pick up. But again, not to jump the gun. Go ahead, Chakota.
Well, I want to jump the gun and say, because, well, so like, I don't think I thought of it as like, oh no, this isn't as, it wasn't Hogan's Heroes ridiculous. Like, it wasn't that level. I feel like it was like they took some liberties with some things, because like obviously like from this time the idea of escaping and kind of like the espionage and doctoring kind of documents and doing this kind of thing did happen. It wasn't like this wasn't happening, but it probably wasn't happening in this way, but they had to do a quicker cinematic movie version of like what, so it was like easier for them to be like they have more technology than you think they have, than to like show what actually happened, because that wasn't what the movie was about. You know what I mean? So I think I just kind of took it as that when they did it. Like, okay, this is the gadgety guy. It's a little shticky where he's like, this is his thing, and he's got all the little contraptions he's built. But it's going along, you know, it's there to move the plot based off of something that probably actually happened. So it did lean a little Hogan's Heroes-y, but I don't think it went fully that way. But you know, maybe I'm giving it a lot of slack by saying that. But that's
again, like I like it when a movie picks a lane, and so to start off in this very serious tone, there's a death immediately, really dark, and then to move to seemingly like within the next day or so, you know, things are kind of lighthearted and they're not that worried about anything, and they're not trying to take extra precautions, or there's not. I think I would have liked to see a little bit more concern and like the paranoia of checking at least to see if someone's coming before they do these things, instead of just like, oh, we're just going to lift up the ceiling, move this out, grab whatever we need, and no one's coming in here. We don't have anything to worry about. So for me, I think you could tighten that up pretty easily. Just by doing a few character moments where they're just like checking out the window, be like, oh, hold on. Okay. Yeah. They went by. Okay. Go ahead. Something like that. Something simple. So I think not doing that kind of feels little Hogan's Heroes, but without a lot of the humor or anything that kind of warrants that type of action or behavior. So yeah, just again pick a lane.
Yeah, I mean, kind of going off obviously what Rob said. You know, if they have a radio, why send him back to Caine? But two, I did just like you were saying. It's like, okay, even Hogan's Heroes had a guy at the window watching, and they're just like, you know, they have a guy at the door that's like leaning back, like chuckling, laughing with them, not even paying attention. I'm like, the guy's holding the fake passport. Maybe you should be paying attention. Maybe the guards might notice. So to me, it was a little too cheesy, but not quite the Hogan's Heroes laugh that would have been that other lane. So little to Hatch's liking, the officers come up with the idea that his escape is actually going to be used to contact the Paris Underground, because maybe Paris doesn't have radios. I don't know. In order to free the whole soccer team. What Hatch doesn't realize is that once that plan's made, they intend to have him come back to camp with the information on the escape attempt for some reason. But for me, the one thing that's nice about that is that it kind of solidified for me having Stallone as the pick for the big action guy. Because yes, you could have whoever that's in shape, built to escape, whatever, but you need somebody that's naive enough or dumb enough to not think that far ahead about what kind of plans they have for him after talking to the parasite around. Like if they said, well, no, we can't free them. Is he just supposed to then keep walking out of Paris? He doesn't think about that. So in that sense, maybe him being the pick, being dumb works. What did you guys think?
I struggle with Stallone in general. So, a couple things. So, like, kind of mentioning his physique. Our understanding is that he's been in this this prisoner of war camp for over a year, and the dude looks like he's been like sipping protein shakes every single day. So, like, it just didn't feel realistic. Again, you just gotta suspend your belief and let it be a movie. But like things like that is like it bothers me from the point of view that are they being disrespectful or disregarding aspects of what actual POW life was like for those soldiers, and kind of making it seem like it was a little bit more lighthearted than the seriousness that it would have been in reality, and the fear. And they're not going to give them. They're not eating prime rib steaks, and he's just totally built. And he honestly, like, if there's one character I could remove from the movie, it would be him. And I would totally rewrite it and play up different characters more. Like, I think Pele could have been a much more integral part of the story, much more interesting too. But like, I get it. Like, if you're going to have an escape scene and do all these things, yeah, sure. I guess Stallone's the only one that makes sense that's in the film. But also the thing that, again, like there's something about this type of movie where I can hear like someone like reviewing it and being like, it's got something for everyone. It's got violence, it's got sports, and it even has a 3-minute love story. Because I timed it.
You timed it.
And if you blink or go to the bathroom, you miss that whole love story.
Yeah. Be like, wait, who's that woman and that kid? Why is that kid running out onto the pitch giving flowers?
I mean, that was the clue. That was the message, though, too. I will give him that. Go for it, Rob.
So casting of Stallone, I think, just to be real, I think it was terrible, right? He had no business being in this film. I mean, if they were looking for someone who would be able to like be a, like, not to say, because it doesn't need to be a burly guy, right? It needs just to be some like crafty guy, like a James Bond type character. I mean, James Bond, none of them were like ripped type of characters, right? Mm-hmm. They were usually just kind of well fit. They were sneaky. They could get like these kind of covert things done. So I don't know if it really needed a Stallone type character. I mean, to your point, Jagoda, like the idea of like having someone naive enough to think, oh, he doesn't even know that he's going to have to come back, so he has to be somebody stupid. Was that the reason, like, that a Stallone type character was chosen, or was it just really bad writing? I don't know, because even just that just doesn't jive. Like we were talking about some of the tech that they had available, but yeah, it felt so off, especially in the beginning part of the film. Like, I mean, and probably that was the point of like how bad of a soccer player or football player he was. But I mean, it was like That would be like me getting out there to play, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a sport I'd be really, really bad at. Probably most of them. But like, truthfully, like he had no business out there to play soccer. He didn't know what he was doing. I mean, it was so evident. So I don't know. I just felt he was just a really bad casting, but it was the early 80s. Stallone's like star was high, right? It was probably the right thing from a studio perspective, but I don't know. Not so much from the film. Like,
all of the other actors were so much better than him, like from an acting ability level.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. Like, he just had no business being in this film for so many reasons.
But like you mentioned, the studio perspective, I'm sure that a big part of them casting him was, okay, we've got a movie about soccer in World War II. We need Americans to buy into this film. How do we get money from the American box office? You cast an American that we all know in the 80s.
Well, and that's what I wanted to talk about for this question, which is a little off the center of the question. But I think I almost feel like this part was written for Stallone, and then I'm gonna push the domino down and talk about the future and what this may or may not have caused, because Stallone was Rocky in the late 70s, right? It was so Rocky. I'm gonna get my I have my notes and my my numbers here. So Rocky was in 76, good old bicentennial movie. Rocky's in 76 and it blows up, and Rocky 2 is in 79. So Stallone, for all intents and purposes in America, is the sports movie guy. He's also an underdog kind of character, a guy who can't you get behind him and he might not always perform the way that you're hoping for. So you got Stallone as Rocky, and he's the sports guy. So at this point, Stallone's the sports guy. He does a couple other movies between the Rockies. He does this one called Fist, which is about organizing truckers. Haven't seen it, but I read about it. Organizing truckers, which is not dissimilar to like riling up a group of these, POW camp dudes. And then you also he does a movie called Paradise Alley, which is a wrestling movie. So again, he's the sports guy. So Stallone gets cast because they need an American sports guy, and they write this little storyline for him. And then he gets to do this escape scene, and he absolutely loves that So he writes a movie for himself called First Blood, where the whole thing could just be him doing that escape scene for the whole movie. And that comes out the next year.
Okay. Probably. You
like that one?
But I mean, a simple actor switch, I think, could have made this 10 times better, and replace Stallone with like Robert Redford. I think you got a better movie.
Well, you definitely have better acting.
Yeah, at least you'd have that.
Yeah. I could see Redford in that.
Oh, wait, I'm jumping the
That's
gun. I'm jumping the gun. Oh, no. Apologies.
I'm a bit of an escape artist myself.
So the soccer match happens in Paris with a large crowd in the stands, and as the match unfolds, we see a lot of how the Nazis want to control everything. Lots of guards to stop escapes, a biased radio announcer to make it sound like the Germans can't do anything wrong, a referee that's been brought on to keep things fair for the German team. But then when the Allies start scoring, that's when the crowd becomes the real problem they didn't foresee. So, the crowd starts going wild for everything that the Allies do right. They are completely silent when the Germans score. I kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the way that match plays out. I mean, to me, that side of things with the crowd becoming the real problem, perfect. Like, that makes sense. But that escape that gets rejected...
that was weird. And
I
then
was so mad.
Well, and then like they go, okay, let's go. And then Michael Caine's like, wait a minute, what did you say? We can win this. We can win this. It's like, win what? What are you going to do?
You can win a game or you can win your lives. Which one you want?
Yeah.
That was what ruined the whole thing for me. Like
like, even to that point, like, I mean, I get it. Like, you've got like good schematics of when you built a stadium and all that stuff, but you're telling me they were able to dig underground through like mazes of tunnels and to get it exactly under this little tiny pool in a locker room and be able to break through it with just that little hole in the floor breaking out, not like where the whole like room collapses on top of them. Because, water in a pool is very light, right? So it's not going to weigh anything down.
And after all that, they throw it away. Nothing even matters.
Well, see, what would have been better at that moment, like rather than have the very unbelievable of, well, we want to go back and play because we can win this. We have a chance, even though they've clearly been cheating the entire time. They're fouling us, they're injuring us, and there's no penalties.
And the dudes were in the hole. They were in the hole. They were halfway out.
So what would have been more believable is if, as they were escaping or trying to escape, they're found out, and like the Nazi guards or whomever discover them, they're forced to come back. They have to play the second, and then the game carries on. But now they are trying really hard to win, and now you got the crowd behind you. You got that whole narrative, makes the ending even better because you knew that middle halftime stunt was no longer viable. So.
And to add to what you just said, if you make it where the team isn't necessarily found out because they might shut the game down, you make it where the guys in the tunnel were followed and they're stopped right after they blow the hole, so you can hear what's going on down in the tunnel, and it's like we can't go that way anymore, and now we got to play our way out.
No, that
higher
right
stakes.
There, you have a better movie.
Well, I just took what you said and added one piece.
No, I like that. That was good.
I was kind of expecting the guys from the French underground to like pull out a piece and be like, "That's BS. Get going down this hole. Keep going."
We
didn't do all that. We just spent all this time and effort digging this giant tunnel, and you're going to go back and just say, "Forget it."
The thing that made me so mad about the hole as I started thinking about it more is they get the hole, they're escaping out the hole, and they decide not to. And if you think about that whole high stakes, intense part that Stallone served in this movie, it was to get that hole open. The only reason he came back was to get that hole open. The only reason they broke that dude's arm was to get that hole open. The only reason all of that stuff happened was to open that hole, and then the dudes just threw it away. I was so angry at them at that point. I was like, what are you why? Why?
This is like that commentary on the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones had no actual control of the plot. Like if he just had done nothing, the outcome would have been the same.
Yes. Yeah. True story. I mean, it is. It's true. If you picked Stallone and all of his scenes out of the movie and the whole, the movie happens the same way anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. You were talking, Mike, about picking a lane. If they wanted to go the full Hogan's Heroes route, then what they could have done was to go to Rob's point, how did they know where to dig and all this? They end up going through the wrong pool and get the Germans.
That would have been Hogan's Heroes. Yeah. Oh man.
Salute. Just working on the plumbing.
Scheduled maintenance.
Oh no. Yeah,
well,
that made me so
we kind of mentioned it earlier about Pele being in the movie. And being, he was a huge star. He'd been playing through the 60s and 70s. And it felt like he was not that important for really most of it. Even though in the end credits he's listed as designing the soccer plays. Whether he did all of them or not, I don't know. But with him, and then having most of the teams being actual professional players from different countries, I mean, you'd think that Pele would have a bigger impact than just scoring one goal.
It was a cool goal.
it was a cool goal, but they literally sidelined him with an injury, and then it seemed like the rest of the movie he was figuratively just sidelined. Like, oh, we needed a big name from actual soccer.
That was probably some sort of contractual agreement not to use him as much, just so that they could protect him because of his worth for their team. So I'm wondering if that might have been a factor.
Yeah, that might have been it. I mean, I would have, at the very least, if he was designing the plays behind the scenes, I would have thought, why isn't he the one, like, not necessarily the head coach, but they could have been like, they had that one shot of him fixing the play on the board for Colby. They could have had him, like, doing that the whole time and be like, here's what we should do.
I'm going to throw this out here because we had to stop and look up Michael Caine's age, and he was 46, I think we said, 40-something. He was in there.
Yeah.
Pele was 40 at this point. So I think that plays into it too, in that, like, it's like there's a reason Michael Jordan wasn't in Space Jam 2, right? No one should have been in Space Jam 2 because Space Jam 2 shouldn't exist. I'll live and die by that. But you know what I mean? Like, Pele's not necessarily in his prime at the time. He's at the point where he could still do the tricks and he could still do the stuff, but he's maybe like, I don't want to run around this whole, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, he can choreograph the soccer as a consultant. Like, you know what I mean? He can do that stuff. He could still do his crazy flip, kick, goal score. But it also, maybe he was too, like, I want to be in the movie, but I also just want to design the soccer. Like, maybe he was looking for a new, like, career shift. Like, I could be a stunt coordinator soccer dude now in my second part of my career. I don't know how long he played, but I was looking that up because I was like, I wonder how old he was at this point, because he had been playing in the 60s and now it's the 80s and it's been a while. So yeah, I think it could be something like that too.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, because Michael Caine was quoted as saying that basically he did the movie because he wanted to work with Pele. And I would have thought that if that was the case, then, like I said, maybe he could have been the one, like, at the board, like, here's where you're going to go, here's where you're going to go, for more than just that one shot. But shoulda, woulda, coulda, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, they want to make the English feel really good about themselves, so.
Yeah.
So they're in charge.
They're very competitive when it comes to football. So
it's true.
So that's true. They wanted to promote this movie as, like, the great British Empire has produced this amazing team that defeated the Nazis.
Okay, speaking of the British Empire, I thought it was really weird and confusing too that they described Stallone as being an American who was fighting for the Canadian Army, because Canada would be part of the Commonwealth. So it's like they had to, like, link him so that he could be British, so that he could be, like, part of the game, I guess. I don't know.
That's totally how they got him convinced to be a part of the movie, was like, because there were people that before America was involved, that is how they joined up, was going to Canada. Yeah. So I could totally see him being like, yeah, I'm a real macho American guy. I'm going to go do my part and fight the Nazis. I'm going to go to Canada and so
to enlist. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And in a similar kind of thing, they say that Pele is from Trinidad because Brazil hadn't joined the war at that point. So that's tricky.
I still love that, again, we're made to believe that at the very least, Stallone's character has been in this POW camp for a year, at least, because Michael Caine yells at him that he's been telling him the same bloody thing for over a year about not tackling other soccer players. It's like, come on.
No, hasn't learned the game at all in that year.
I think my favorite thing with that is when he keeps asking him, where do I stand for a corner kick?
Yeah.
Have you not watched it before?
You're the goalie. Where do you think you stand?
He had a real Rudy moment.
All the more reason.
He needs to stick to boxing.
Yeah. Boxing and cutting pizza and
with some scissors.
throwing his newspapers on the grill.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, Rob brought it up earlier, so let's just do it. Who would Willem Dafoe play?
I gotta go through the list of all the different characters here. Let's see.
I play Pele.
Renee.
I would love to see Willem Dafoe try to do a bicycle kick. That would be great.
And Willem Dafoe as Pele. No. No. Oh my God.
I played soccer a couple of times.
I'll play you for a couple of Michelob Ultras.
I forgot about that again.
That's right.
I keep forgetting about that, and then you say it, and I'm like, "That's right. He played tennis." I think I had that same experience last month.
So maybe that's a thought. So I mean, we're thinking of all like the POWs and such, but would he have been good as the one German major? And
That's who
brought his
that
character in a little bit more, make him a little more menacing. But then again, like we talked about, the unevenness of the film. The first part of it, like, I mean, other than the very beginning scene is a little dark. The first part of it is a little kind of like, I don't want to say a little bumbling, a little silly.
It is. And then even too, that character has like a redemption arc where you kind of like at the end, he like watches him run away and he's like,
they got me.
Great. Like, and I'm like, but it's like, no, like that. I get like, are you trying to get us to feel like he's?
Yeah. See, that's my biggest issue.
I don't want to feel good about him
because there's definitely this like sanitation that's going on of the Nazis in this movie. It's like, oh, they kind of have a heart, you know.
Right.
We're going to give you more rations if you play in this football match here. We'll help you out here, buddy.
That would, not in a million years would they agree to do that.
No, and like the way, and so I guess there was an actual soccer match, like that. This is based on.
It's argued
a little bit
that really happened,
right?
Or not, but yeah,
because this is based on. I got to go down to two half times in hell. Is a Hungarian war film that this is based off of, and that's based off of, some possible thing that happened with a Ukrainian prisoner of war situation. So there was something, but they have like transformed it so many times that it's not even it. You know,
and I mean that was something that the Germans, the Nazi Germany, they were notorious for doing, were trying to present themselves as the superior race, and they would put on these phony matches, and so the idea that they would even give them a sporting chance doesn't really make sense. I mean, I take that back. I mean, you look at Nazi Germany having the Olympics. And they were supposed to clean house, but they didn't, and that just pissed off Hitler. But so like in my head, it would make more sense if they were like, no, you know what, you're not getting those food rations. we're not going to give you special gear. You have to play like the inferior group of people that you are. So they make so many concessions to the POWs that it just makes it unbelievable.
And to me, the biggest thing with that, and going back to the escape tunnel that they don't use, is that whole idea of, well, I need these polls, I need these checks, and then they show up and it's like, oh my God, what have they been doing to you? And he knows that those people are going to die if they don't escape. We have the escape tunnel. Oh no, let's go play the match.
Yeah.
You just forgot about those guys, didn't you?
You raise the stakes so high and then you don't use the escape.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing which I was a little concerned with. So it wasn't one of the players like injured so bad during the game that he was like in the locker room the entire time? Or did he end up coming out? So if the movie ended the way it did, was that guy just left to lurch in the locker room to be captured by the Germans after?
He went down the hole.
I mean,
he's like Mole Man in there. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh, goodness.
Hans Mole Man.
Yeah. No, well, Pele was sent to the locker room and he came out in the second half. So maybe he was sitting on the bench. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's possible.
But if they didn't, though, that would have been like a good end credit scene, like him like waking up like, hey, where's everybody at?
Well, and for the Nazi soldiers to not open fire at all when the crowd start rushing. Again, unbelievable.
They just let him go. They let him go. I didn't believe that.
It's called plot armor, and they were all wearing it.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was out there in the crowd. Well, it definitely had its issues, but I think it might be time to go ahead and score it so I can see what I did right and didn't do right.
All right. I'm going to bring up...
It's not you, it's the filmmakers.
Right.
That's true. So we have Escape to Victory, and we are going to score this one up. I've got Rob on the list first for his rarity, theme, production value, and enjoyment scores for this guy here.
All right. So rarity, I had never heard of this film before. So that definitely helps in its rarity score, but it's definitely starring some pretty like A-listers, if you will. I mean, from Michael Caine to Stallone and Pele, incredibly known. I mean, all of the other soccer players were probably well known in Europe at the time, but so rarity's kind of a mixed bag for me. I'm gonna give it a 3. I'll go middle of the road. For theme, I mean, it's a summer of sports. I mean, it's a 5, right? I mean, football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's
World
especially
Cup
now
summer here too.
With World Cup is upon us, right? If you will. So it totally meets the theme. Production value. So this is the part where I'm probably going to give it maybe a higher score than maybe I was expecting, because if you really think about it, it's a pretty like sophisticated film that they made. I mean, the sets, the digging of the tunnel, that was a little weird, but like even that was kind of cool, like how they did it. I mean, filming it in a big venue for a sports venue, right? Have all the extras and such. It was pretty good. So I'm going to give it a 4. I think some things that hurt it was a little bit of the kind of weird parts at the beginning, but that'll go into my enjoyment as well. Again, I think this was a very uneven enjoyment for me. The first part of the film, like I was just lost. I'm like, this is terrible. Like I could almost feel myself kind of falling asleep a little bit, like while I'm watching it. But then they got to the scene where Stallone was like getting ready to escape. And then even like the scene when he's in France, like that was kind of cool, right? At least in my point of view. And then through the actual football game, it was pretty good. So I can't give a half score. So I just, that first part of the film I thought was just so poor. I'm going to land on a 3 for enjoyment.
You thought it was so poor.
So all poor right. that the end got better. That's the only thing that evens it out.
All right, let's see if I could do my math. 15. Is that a 15? 15. All right.
All right. So, Rarity, I have heard of this movie. I was aware of it, probably mostly through Googling other Michael Caine movies. So, and I'd be like, "Oh, Victory, okay, he's got a soccer." And so when you mentioned you're picking this one, I was like, "Oh, it's the Michael Caine movie." I didn't know anything about it.
Just Michael Caine.
I just knew Michael Caine was in it, and then when you guys were like Stallone's in it, I was like, "What?"
Like, oh, crap.
It's like finding out someone crapped on a sandwich.
I mean, there were no axes in the movie, I don't think so. So Rarity, I'm gonna go 2, just because I was aware of it, and I'm sure it was huge amongst soccer fans at the time. It looked like it did pretty well at the box office, making their money back.
Yeah.
Theme, I would have scored it lower if they reduced the amount of soccer playing by like half, and then they actually turned the rest of the film into an escape film as they leave the tunnel and now they're going across the countryside. But because they went back and kept playing and it was like watching a whole game, it's 5. So
you're saying the fatal flaw in the plot is what gave it the 5 in theme.
Yeah.
It got a good score, but it made a terrible film.
Terrible idea. Terrible.
Production value, I'm kind of with Rob. They had decent sets. I'm sure that, there's probably quite a few films and TV productions that were using similar camps. So it was probably like a studio camp at that point. But also, scenes with the soccer match and the crowd control. And, those were some of the best parts of the movie is when the crowd is like responding to what they're seeing on the field. It felt believable. I mean, it felt passionate, just like a lot of football fans are. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that a 4. And then enjoyment, I'm gonna be honest with you. Again, like there's 2 different ways that this film could have gone down. So for me, like if Stallone was removed from this movie, I'd give it a 4. But because he's in it, it's gonna be a 3.
Oh man. All right. I feel like I'm going to be in spoiler alert / I guess you could fast forward. I feel like I'm going to be similar in this score range because a lot of what y'all said, I think we were all on the same page with this one. For Rarity, I'm kind of mimicking Rob with the 3 because the 3 is like, it's kind of one of those, like, just because I've never heard of it doesn't necessarily make it rare. But like looking around at other things, like it was rare enough. I do think it was rare enough. It wasn't like the complete rare package. I had never heard of it though. And then also like for us and like, okay, other places in the world maybe have a better grasp on this or like knew more of the players or things like that. But like soccer in the early 80s in the United States was like non-existent. So like I see how like this was very under the radar for the United States. So that's where I'm like, it's kind of like, I don't know. But like big names, Rarity, the 3 right down the middle is kind of like that 3. For theme, I agree. It hits the mark. of the sports movie. The sports was the driving force of the movie, to its detriment sometimes, as we discussed. So we'll give it that full 5. Production value for everything you guys are saying. What I had down here is like, it's a good solid production value situation here. And I thought for the 70s, like I always try to put it in context of like when this is happening. And like in the 70s, this had a lot of stuff going on. You know what I mean? It had a lot of, or the 70s, 80s. They're like making it in the turn of the decade. I'll call it the turn of the decade, early 80s. You know what I mean? Like as far as like, it was very in line with a lot of the late 70s movies we've watched before in those like, you know, Wild Geese, the Molly Maguires, I'll throw in that too. Like those movies we've watched that kind of have that, like, it's not going for like Star Wars level special effects, but like the effects, the realism that they're going for, they're hitting at a high level because it is a decent production that they're putting on there. And then finally for enjoyment, I'm right there with you guys too. I think I have the same score as Rob is what it ended up with a 3, because I see, like, I liked the movie fine enough. I'll call it. I liked the movie fine enough at the beginning until they didn't go down that hole. And then I was just pissed. And I was like, what? Like, you're supposed to go down the hole. Cause like, I wanted to see what would happen. Cause like, okay, you go down the hole. I'm going to do one more rant about the hole. You go down the hole. And then they come back to let you out of the locker room for you know, the end of halftime, which is, you know, probably what, 15 minutes or something like that. And then you only have like a 10-minute head start. And now the action starts. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I was waiting for. I was like, how are they going to pull this off now in the hole? You know, and I didn't get to see that. But anyways, so there you go. Thank you for doing the math. We got a 44. And let's put that, we got a 44 and we're going to put that sucker on the official view right here with a 44. If I can switch again, 44, not bad. I always like to look at what we did before. That's actually pretty solid middle of the road for our previous scoring average-ish kind of situation. So not bad.
And to sum up this whole episode, I'll quote Stallone from the movie. All this over a frickin' soccer game.
And he had a lot of attitude too at the very beginning when like the ball was kicked and he goes up to the Major Steiner he went up to and he's like, "Can I have my ball back, sir?"
God.
And then that other scene when like Kobe's going away for a meeting and he comes up to him and he's like, "You know what? I know what I think of your team, Kobe. You know what I think?"
Yeah.
It's like, this is terrible. I don't need this kind of aggravation, Kobe.
It would be interesting to like be in a theater in anywhere in Europe during that scene. Like, what did they like? What was the reaction? Did they laugh? Were they like, "Who is this idiot?" Like, I mean, other than knowing him from the popularity of the Rocky films, but it's like, man, Americans are stupid. Was that like the impression that they got, like, from his character? I mean, that scene alone.
The last 250 years.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
No. Again, I'll go back to it. He had no business being in this film. None whatsoever. No business.
But he had every right. No. All right. Anyways.
The right, but practice, not a good idea.
Yeah. But Rob, so you have the next pick. And I'm ready to actually paste it in there. So,
all right. So
what are you picking for as co-winner
for the summer of for the summer of George? I mean, the summer of sports. The next pick is the 1966 surfing documentary, "The Endless Summer."
Ooh, see that? I realized then I didn't put the year on Escape to Victory. I'll add that later. Endless Summer Surfing. That's perfect one for July, summer.
Good summer. It's a good summer movie.
I'm already upset because Rob picked a good one, and I know I'm going to score it high, and he's going to win again.
I keep telling you guys to give me higher scores, but
he's going to do it.
Then we're going to be on a Stallone arc.
I can already tell. I can already tell that like checks a bunch of boxes for things I like. The Endless Summer. It already checks a bunch of boxes. Rob, he knows how to pick them. That's all I got to say about that. He knows how to pick them. All right. So yeah, check out Endless Summer and then meet us next time on the Rare Cuts Media Society.